Hi everyone, welcome to Sake Unplugged. I am Giulia, a sake educator and sake sommelier, and next to me, as usual, I have Cindy, a sake professional and Japan expert. Every week we take you on a sake journey and show you what's behind the sake curtains. Thank you for waiting so patiently because this is, as you guys know, the first episode of season 2. So pour yourself a cup and let's enjoy sake from the sake point of view. Welcome back to Sake Unplugged. I know you guys missed us so much. We really missed you too. And I miss chatting with you, Cindy. I mean, we keep in touch daily almost, but I still miss talking to you, you know?
And it's so much easier when we are in the same country, right? I think we're so used to be maybe in other places, but we're still in Japan. So the time zone is kind of killing us, isn't it?
Right, because we always like, how many hours is she sleeping? Is already it's always so complicated, but we manage because as we always do. And I have to say, I'm a little jealous of you because you have for this episode you have this gorgeous microphone and all this thing that you guys can't see, but you can of course hear. And so I'm just jealous. I have to say, can I say that?
You can say, but it's only borrowed. So you can be jealous for a few more episodes and then it will be gone. So
all right. I'll make sure to remind you how jealous I am of you until the end. But anyways,
please do so.
So as of now, of course, Cindy is in Japan as usual, traveling around Japan, our favorite sake nomad, and I am in Italy. So I'm spending here a couple of months, August and September, and I'll be back on October 1st. And I'm also traveling around Italy. So I'm joining you in being a nomad. But I'm so excited Sake Unplugged is back. So Cindy, where are you right now?
I am in Tochigi in Utsunomiya. So this is kind of my home base for a little bit. As some of you might know, I have started promoting sake breweries in Tochigi. So we have 4 breweries here that we run under the label of Sake Voyage. So it's just so much easier to be closer to them and be able to visit them. So I'm quite happy, especially as the summer is just calming down and temperatures are definitely getting bearable.
It's exactly what I wanted to ask you because here also in Italy, the situation is getting better. But I basically ran away from Japan when it was like the hottest moment of the year. So it's getting better in Japan. The temperature is going down. So that makes you want to drink even more. Is that what you're saying?
I wasn't going to put it that way, but I kind of always like to drink anyway, no matter the temperature. But it is a lot more sociable, you know, and it's also nice because there's events happening and they're outdoors. So now it's really the time to meet people and to go out and have a cheeky kanbai in the garden. So no, it's starting to be good. So when you come back, it'll be perfect.
Yeah, in a way, because I see what you're posting. We also are sharing your experiences on Sake Unplugged's Instagram. I'm a little bit jealous. So I know you're going to events in Tochigi, speaking of gardens, but also not just Tochigi. So where should we start first? Shall we start from Tochigi area so you can tell us what you've been doing in Tochigi and then moving on to other prefectures?
Yeah. Why not?
Too many things to say, too many things to.
It's sometimes hard to unravel my brain. Yeah, so as I said, I mean, I'm stationed these days in Tochigi to represent some of the breweries. So I have been visiting them. And it's been a real pleasure to see them and to also see customers in their shops. So I was in Nikko with a group of people over the weekend and it was lovely. It wasn't just us. There was plenty of people buying sake and we got a chance to drink it. So really nice experience and really lovely to see the brewers so happy and so engaged and eager to share what they're doing just before they're heading into brewing season, right? And then, as you already hinted, there was a sake garden and I love it. I actually have sake from the sake garden with me that I cheekily took home with me. Don't tell them. So
I won't.
everybody keep that quiet. So Tonoike Shusoten in Mashiko, and many of you might know it because they're the makers of Bo and they're the maker of Sanran. And they actually won the overall Kura Master competition this year. So again, super congratulations. The sake is really awesome, but they're also super outgoing and they really want to share what they're doing. And they are organizing these events. So over the duration of summer, they have been organizing these sake gardens, which basically meant that they organized a bus from Utsunomiya to Mashiko, which normally takes about 40 minutes on a public transport. And then they organized bento boxes and chairs and tables in their kind of main brewing area where they normally store all the sake. And then there was kind of free-flowing sake all through their product line, which was really amazing. And obviously great company, lots of people coming up, but still under COVID restrictions. So the space is very limited. But it was great fun, and again, it was great to see people come out and just drink. And Tonoike-san, he's very social. He loves talking to people and he was running around a little bit crazy, talking to everybody and taking selfies. Yeah. So it was really, really, really good time. So very, very fond memories. And of course, there's a sake here that I will open in a minute and start drinking.
That sounds like the best of events, and I hope once I'm back to Japan they still do it, so I can join one, and hopefully Tonoike-san will be also able to join us in the future of Sake Unplugged. Who knows? We're always happy to hear from all the breweries. That sounds really, really, really amazing. But you also went outside Tochigi Prefecture, right? And you join, like you visit other breweries, you join other tours, is that correct?
Yes, I had another opportunity because, as some of you might know, in our season 1, we had Ruben here with us, the young sake sommelier, and also the founder of Kabuki Sake Works. So he imports from several regions here in Japan, and Aizu Wakamatsu is one of them. And it also happens to be very close to Tochigi. So I cheekily tagged along for a few days and visited some breweries with him. And it was a great trip. I mean, I'm laughing a little bit because whenever we meet, things happen and they don't necessarily go exactly the way we plan. So of course, this trip as well was a little bit, not everything was the way we thought it would be, but it might just as well made it even better.
Awesome.
So I got a chance to visit Suihiro Brewery.
Right.
And it was amazing because he's obviously a big player in the area. And aside from a full-on brewery tour, he also has like aged sake that he stores. So every year he takes 100 bottles and he stores them. And I saw, and now wait for this, they had bottles that were from my birth year.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, ooh, how much does this cost? And he was kind of not telling me. So I had a feeling it was very expensive. But if you're looking for a very special present, this might be the place that you get a nice bottle of sake, tasty and very, very unique. But also then he's a real entertainer and he has a lot of passion. So part of his brewery is actually a camera museum.
Camera museum.
So he has photo cameras from all through the centuries, like insane.
Oh, wow.
Super, super interesting. And then you can go upstairs into the attic where he has a little concert room where he does have concerts and events. And it's really a bit insane, but very, very cool place to go to. And not sure if everything is accessible to the public, but a lot of the places are.
That's it. I'm coming back to Japan like right now. Like I'm leaving.
No, and you should. And we should go back there because I really thought it was fantastic. We also ended up going to a bar one night that was recommended to us by a brewer. And little did we know that the brewers from Miyaizumi were actually working in that bar in their off time. So as they were taking the orders, and we're kind of ordering a lot of food. So one of the waiters was writing down on his hand our order.
Awesome.
And we were looking at his hands and we were joking to say, oh my God, his hands look so soft. Like he could be a brewer. And literally 2 hours later, they're like, yeah, we're the Kurabito from this brewery, right? And we were laughing so much because it was just insane. So they also gave us a very impromptu tour of Miyaizumi, which is awesome. And so, yeah, many things happened that we didn't expect, but it all turned out well.
That all sounds fantastic. So I'm sure you had the time of your life. That sounds amazing. But you just said before, so you had this bottle from Tochigi with you. Maybe I can get one of my sake here, and then we can have a kanpai via internet, via Zoom.
Please do. And I'm going to just tell people what I'm having here.
Yes.
I actually have the Sandan Karakuchi, and it's futsushu, but it's very nice. And I also bought a sake cup made of urushi lacquerware. That's kind of traditional craft of Aizu Wakamatsu.
Wow.
And I will combine my two trips.
Show me. You guys can't see it. I'm so sorry, but it's, oh my God, with this beautiful flower on top of it. It's gorgeous.
It's quite lovely because they're famous for it. They're doing these Zodiac cups. So basically there's one cup for every season. So this would have been the cup for July. Very beautiful. And I just couldn't resist. So I figured I'd take it out today for the first time. And we have a little kanpai on our welcome back session.
Yes. So since you're drinking a futsushu, I'm going to join you in that. Mine is from Hyogo. I'm drinking Kuromatsu Kenbishi. So, but it's a futsushu, so at least we can have the same kind of drink.
So as you're getting your bottles, I'm just pouring myself a cup of sake here. And now, let's kanpai.
Kanpai!
Kanpai!
I'm just knocking bottles with themselves. By the way, just so you know, guys, here in Italy, it's 10 a.m. Yes, your girl is drinking already. No, just a sip. What time is in Japan there? It's
5:12.
Perfect.
And I deserve it. That's all I'm saying. I deserve a cup of sake right now. But I also want to say something about this sake because I thought it was quite funny because it was in my fridge anyway. And I didn't realize. I was looking it up online because I was just kind of wanted to read a bit more about it. And the pairing recommendation, now wait for it, is actually salami.
Yay!
And spaghetti.
Yes!
And I thought this is the perfect sake for us because you're in the land of spaghetti and I'm drinking a sake that will go perfectly well with it. So I might keep a little bit or I buy another bottle for when you're back and we drink it together over a meal.
Okay, so today I'm going to have spaghetti and you keep drinking that and it's going to be like if we were together or something.
Yeah, because we are the same person, right?
Exactly. That's so amazing. I'm actually quite happy I could find a nice selection of sake here. So at the beginning of my Italian trip, I bought some bottles that basically are traveling with me. I already went up and down because I have family basically everywhere. So after 3 years, I could finally come back. So I'm visiting everybody. So everything is traveling with me and also my sake. So as of now, I have 3 bottles with me. As I said, I have Kenbishi, and which is my futsushu. And then I have Dewazakura, I bought their ginjo. And then I have something that is really, really close to you because I bought Uroko from Shimazaki Brewery from Tochigi.
I've seen it on all your social media and I've been very, very happy that this has traveled with you because I love it. It's one of my favorite sake from Shimazaki-san. So very excited to see that has gone all the way to Italy.
Yeah, I remember when we were there together, he was telling me how it's becoming really popular. They aged Yamahai, which is also a Genshu, is getting really popular in Italy. It's probably their most popular product in Italy. And of course, as I went online to purchase sake, it was on the list, so I bought it. And I really know why, because I've been eating cheese for 20 days now. So next time I see me, I'll be very, very round, but very, very happy. Anyways, it pairs so beautifully with all the cheese. I even pair it with some desserts as well. We had a barbecue the other day. I even pair it with some cuisine from Südtirol. So if any of you knows like knödel or strudel or this kind of cuisine, that goes well with those as well, because part of my family is from Sutiro. That's why. So it's now I know why. It's gorgeous. It's really gorgeous.
So as you're bringing out these sakes, like how is your family and friends reacting to them?
They're all very curious. First of all, the labels are these three sake, just like the labels are very interesting. They're colorful. They have these really like pop colors, and everything is so different because they have all these characters. So everybody's really curious. And I was so surprised. So the other day, I brought this sake to my auntie. She's 85, and we were having dinner together. She made some. I was exactly in the middle of Italy, on the seaside, and we were having some fish, and we were having dinner at her place. And I brought these bottles, and I was, in a very simple way, trying to explain her what those bottles are, and she was like, "Oh, pour me some." That night, I think we started from Kembishi. Anyways, she loved it because I gave her just a little bit because I was like, she's never had anything like that. And she was like, "Can I try the other one too? Can I try this other?" And I was like, "Auntie, you're so excited about this. Can I bring you back to Japan with me? You're just gonna be my customer, sitting next to me, just
That's adorable.
Just telling everybody how delicious it is." She's like, "Oh my God, this is so good. I love it. I love it. And this goes well with this." And she was the most excited of everybody. So
I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I mean, they sometimes say you can't teach old dogs new tricks, right? But I quite often feel like a lot of the older people, they're very open and they're very, I want to try everything. And how do you do this? And how do you do that? So it's exciting to hear that she was so into it.
no, and I mean, for example, Uroko is actually 17% of alcohol. So it's a bit higher than your regular sake. And I told her, I was like, "Auntie, this is a bit, stronger." And she was like, "Yeah, give me some more. If anything, I'm going to sleep later. So who cares? Just give me some."
But you do have a bit of a grappa culture, right? I mean, I have relatives in Italy and they all have their grappas,
Right.
and there is ristretto. So I do think there's a culture of having something like this at the end of a meal where other countries might not be as used to having like a drink like this to finish something off, right?
And it was amazing because she was telling me like, "Oh, this is so sweet, and it's so easy to drink. It's kind of dangerous because you don't realize how strong it is because it doesn't feel like it, but it's so delicious." And so I was like, "Okay, I'm not going to give you no more because if you're telling me this, it might be dangerous." And she just looked at me and she was like, "You're crazy. Give me more. What are you talking about?"
I was going to say story of my life. There's all this super yummy Asuri sake that I feel has no alcohol. And then you want to get up your chair when you feel a bit wobbly. So I don't know that.
Yeah. But, she's 85. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't, but she was like, "Oh, give me more." And she had like her red cheeks and everything. And she was like, "Give me more, give me more."
So have you found out any new pairings that you didn't realize would work really well before? Because you do a lot of Italian food tastings, right? So I know you already kind of know what works and what doesn't, but being in the homeland, did you eat anything that you don't get in Japan and you went like, "Wow, I never thought that could work"?
Well, definitely all this cuisine from Südtirol, which I cannot have in Japan, or I didn't cook myself in Japan. It works really, really well. So I was really surprised, and especially a lot of desserts too. Even dewa zakura, which is something that I never paired with desserts before. It worked really well. We had this giant cake, which is a ricotta cake, basically. This is the Italian version of a cheesecake. Is like 10 centimeters tall, and it's a mix of cream and ricotta.
Oh, I used to eat like ricotta cakes in Sardinia. It was one of my favorite things.
And it goes so well with sake too. So at this point, I have no limit. I am just going to try everything with everything, and I'm just going to have more experiments because it's just working really well. The only thing that people was just a little bit uncertain of at the beginning was the fact that I also told them, "Okay, let's warm this up. We're having this chilled. Let's warm it up and see how it changes." And at the beginning, everybody was like, warm up, because of course we don't really have warm drinks during our meals in Europe, not just in Italy. So everybody was a little bit like, what is she talking about? But then of course they tried and they were like, oh, this is actually interesting how it changes. And they were always like, is that the same bottle? And I'm like, yes, it's the same bottle. So I really appreciated the enthusiasm,
Very cool.
So from now on, I have more than a month to go and a lot of more places to visit and more people to talk to. So it's it's just like the new doors have opened here. So I'm just so excited. Me and my bottles are going places.
Very cool. And what else? What else have you been up to other than eating and drinking? Which are the best things, of course. I mean, I think everybody's just jealous listening to you talking about food and drinks. We just need to move on so people are not dropping out the podcast.
Yeah, no, it's exactly. Everybody's like salivating right now, probably. But yeah. Oh, a lot of eating, a lot of drinking. I'm in Italy. I have to say, I'm going to cheat on sake in the next few days because I am from Piemonte, or in English they call it Piedmont, which is where Barbera, where Nebbiolo, where Barolo, and many more other red wines are made. So I am going to visit these places and I'm going to taste more wine, actually. So I'm going to cheat on sake. I'm going to tell everybody.
I think that's fair.
You're going to see a little bit more wine on my social media. But then I'm actually really excited also to go back to Japan because I am already start planning my next events and courses for October. So October and November, I will be in Tokyo. I'm going to resume my Italian dinners with, of course, new menus and new ideas now that I've been here. So from October the 8th is going to be my first dinner, Italian food and sake pairing dinner. And I'm going to have the SSA courses, both sake professional and certified sake sommelier. And at the very end of November, I think it's 24th and 25th of November, I will be at the Expat Expo in Tokyo. So it sounds redundant to say it, but it's an expo for expats. This year is all about food and drinks. And so everything to do with food and drinks will be there showcasing what they're doing. And of course, I will be there too. So anyone can come and, of course, ask me about like my activities and see everything, all the details about dinners and courses. Plus, I'll be pouring sake from Itakura Shuzo, of course, because I'm going to do some tastings. I want to give out sake. So if you just want to come, even just to drink a little bit of sake, please do. I'll be pouring from them. And after that, I'll be joining them again from December. I'm going back to Shimane to brew sake. And I'll be there for the whole season this year. So I'll be back in Tokyo then in April, I guess, or something. So I'm spending there 5 months.
Awesome.
That's the plan so far.
Awesome. Making many people even more jealous. From eating and drinking the best food in the world to going to make sake. I think it's hard to beat.
But you'll come to visit me, right? Because we're already talking about this. You'll come to visit me in Shimane.
I will try.
So that we can...
I will try. I've gotten extremely busy over the last couple of weeks. So I will definitely try to make it happen.
Which is awesome, because it could be our next chapter for Sake Unplugged, because of course your girls are always thinking what to do next and how to improve the podcast. And so maybe it's not going to be just a podcast. Maybe we're going to have more people coming as like more guests and more things. We know already few names. We're going to have Roberto Maxwell, which is going to join us on the next episode. We will have Sequoia Sake, so international guests, all international guests. We will have, of course, because I'm here in Italy, I reached out to Lorenzo Ferraboschi, which is the founder of Sake Company, which is the company I bought my sake from here in Italy, and more guests, more surprises for us and for all of you that are listening to us. We also have a new feature, right, Cindy? We decided to open our Patreon. So for all of you who wants to, of course, support your girls and maybe buy us a sake, a drink to support. And of course, we will little by little upload more specific content for Patreon as well. So we will share all the info, of course, on our website, on our Instagram, all over our social media. So we're really excited about this. But I actually talk about my own plans for this autumn winter. Do you have, Cindy, some plans already? What's happening in your autumn winter?
Well, my autumn winter is still pretty far away because a lot of things are happening right now. I think I keep saying no rest for the wicked. It's it's gotten extremely busy, but in a good way. I mean, the brewery tours and visits, they're only really just one thing. They're kind of part of one of a bigger project that I'm working on, which is really in the realm of sake tourism, which sort of started when I started my nomadic sort of travel lifestyle, right? Because as I traveled, I think one of my main focus was always going to see breweries and seeing what would be interesting in sake. Like, where would you drink? What would you drink? It's been a very long project that I never had time to work on. And I think our little summer break has perfectly opened up a couple of minutes every day that I could kind of revisit the place I've been to and create content for it that you guys can access. So if you are heading over to Sake Nomad these days, there is plenty of content about breweries that you can visit, how accessible they are. There's photos, there might be videos coming soon as well, but this is another huge project that is in the undertaking. And then I also had the opportunity, as some of you might know, I also king with Sake on Air, but mostly off camera or off microphone, not on microphone, but because we are also doing a sake tourism mini-series, I decided to grab the microphone because I felt like I had something to share. And I have recorded an episode with someone that we also know from our podcast with Umio, like Takashi Eguchi-san, joined me to talk about Kyoto for Sake on Air. And I joined John and Chris to talk a little bit about my other favorite place in Japan, Hokkaido. So there is a lot of things coming in terms of sake tourism, because I do realize people are going to come back, hopefully. I mean, we're crossing all our fingers and our toes that you guys can make it. So I really hope I can help you a little bit in navigating the landscape of what is possible and where you might have to put in a little bit more work. So I guess we're kind of doing the same thing there, not Giulia? I mean, I tell people where to go and you're creating the experiences for them to eat and drink. So we're planning on giving you the best experience if you do manage to come over.
Absolutely.
It's really exciting. I think it's nice to be able to work on these projects. And I feel we're really lucky because we're in Japan, right? And over the last 2 years, although there have been restrictions, I mean, we've still been here and we were able to do stuff. So it's kind of nice to give something back and to help people on their sake journey, whether it is through tasting sake or introducing breweries, or I mean, even our podcast here where we kind of talk and we bring people in to share their stories, but also to help you when you come here and just make your experience a little bit better as a whole.
You know, I'm so excited for the next season in general, like for the next months. There's so many things coming up and so many fantastic things related to sake and events and people making things happen, which is the most important thing. So of course, we're going to share everything with you guys.
Totally, you know.
Part of me right now, it's so happy to be in Italy. And part of me is like, I cannot wait to go back to Japan because I have to do this and that and visit this place and that place. But one thing at a time, we'll be able to do everything.
It's actually been a little bit stressful. And I say that I'm laughing because it's obviously lovely, right? The events are coming back and it's really amazing to go and to drink the sake and meet the people and all of that. But there's been so many events that it's really hard to, where do I go? Where do I not go? Right. So it's really that, okay, what's really worth it or what is really giving me what I'm looking for. So I guess in the upcoming month, and I think you might be able to join me, is the Yamagata Sake Fest that's coming up very soon. And then I think I'm also heading over to Nambo Beachin's anniversary party at some point.
That's gorgeous.
In the next month. So I'm really looking forward to that. So adding plenty more stops on your list to what you could be doing when you're coming over.
So if I'm not mistaken, the Yamagata Sake Fair is October 23rd, which is a Sunday. So as Cindy said, there's a lot of festivals and events to go to. We will join some of these together. And of course, every time we join some event, we will share on our Instagram and we'll talk about it in our podcast. So you don't miss almost anything.
So that's actually a point where we never really shared this. But if you do want to see more about our independent adventures, you can find Giulia at Chichi Sake on Instagram, and you can find myself at Sake Nomad, because we just never always have the time to put everything under Sake Unplugged, although we are going to get better. And of course, if you do want to reach out, you want to say hello, you want to ask us some questions, then we're super happy to be there and to help you with all your sake needs.
Please do. It was really lovely to chat with you, our catch up today. And I hope everybody also enjoyed the tales of our adventures. So thank you so much for joining us today. This was the first episode of season 2. This is so exciting. And the next episode will feature our first guest. So as I mentioned before, we will have Roberto Maxwell, a dear friend, journalist and a sake professional. He does a lot of different things because he's also a tour guide, a filmmaker, and so on. So, but of course, he will tell us, he will tell you everything that he does on the next episode. So absolutely, you have to join us next week. If you haven't already, go and subscribe to Sake Unplugged. What are you waiting for? We'll be back next week, same place, same time. And until then,
have a nice sake.